It's 5 o'clock Mountain Time, and we've got inflation. We've got China and Taiwan. We got the Ukraine. So, what's Congress interested in? The studying of UFOs. I can't believe we're even talking about this, but here we go. Congress has decided that they can't ignore UFOs any longer, Shay. They're apparently up there somewhere, and no one knows what they are, what the hell they are, where they come from, what they're made of, how they're propelled, how they get along. We don't know crap. We just don't know a damn thing.
Well, amazing thing is almost to the day, a year ago, the first thing the Pentagon did in wanting to put out the video, which they finally did, was that they were reclassifying it, as we all know now,
Yeah,
unidentified aerial phenomena.
yeah.
Boy, that took a roundtable study. Like that's like let's go spend some time on that.
Yeah. Well,
That's
let's be 100% accurate here, Shane, because this was formerly known as the Airborne Object Identification and Management Group, as though they can manage identified objects. Now they're the All Domain Anomaly
yeah, it's
Resolution Office.
yeah, exactly.
Help me, Shane, resolve anomalies. Please help me with that. Are you ready? God.
Well, I think there's two things that are important, just real quick to have,
Yeah.
and that is the uh, effort that Trump did by setting up the U.S. Space Force. It was a $30 billion budget, 8,500 people, in the Corps, and why? I mean, if there's really a defined reasoning behind someone like Trump, is that it's specific. It's not. He didn't just do it because he's talking about space. All right, he's doing it because there's a danger, and it's not Russia or China because we already have defenses, relatively strong defenses in regards to them. So yeah, it's one of those things that you look at, and you have to appreciate that the only machine that we have on this planet that could fly at the speeds we're talking about is a drone, because they can handle about 19 Gs, and that would allow that type of a speed. It would also require some type of magnetic or gravitational engine. It wouldn't be a normal type engine that we're used to with fuel, because it would burn out too quickly. So, those are sort of the background numbers and ideas that you have to work with when you're thinking about it. But I mean, this whole thing about, seeing objects flying around and video in the last couple of weeks, even, this has gone on since, for 10,000 years, people have
Mhm.
written records of all of this. I'm not going to go through them, but
Yeah.
they
Mhm.
became a particularly significant in the United States after the U.S. and the Manhattan Project and trilogy in the deserts of the U.S., where they lit off the first atomic bomb. So I think
Mhm.
a nuclear weapon, a nuclear explosion, is a universal weapon. I think if there's others, sentient beings out there, they've identified with that, or some type of laser. I think
Mhm.
that using light as well. So it's like music. I think music is the language of the universe, and mathematics is the science of the universe. I think that's
Yeah.
undeniable when you look at what we've been able to do with it. But for man, the difficulty is we live in such a narrow band. Human beings can basically withstand 9 Gs, but not for very long. And we have two
You talk
types of
about temperature?
no, G forces.
Oh.
So G forces for human beings exist in air and in water. Like a free
Mhm.
dive in water is about 90 feet before the water pressure is too great. And you have the same problem, of course, going into space, because you lose the G force as you end up in space. That was a big and amazing reality, that man could survive in space with no G force. you would think your body would collapse, or in the case of too many G's, it would explode. But for
Yeah.
some reason, the monkeys came back and they were fine.
Yeah, apparently they were. So, well, for the first time in 50 years, lawmakers questioned Pentagon officials for information about sightings of USOs, and many voicing criticism about a lack of transparency. And I don't know how you can be. I don't know how you can sit there as somebody from the the Defense Department or whoever it happens to be, and talk intelligently about something that may or may not be real.
Well, that's one point too. Another point that's very important in relation to how our military operates, just its size. There's 5,000 men on an aircraft carrier. So if these are small objects, and they're probably drones. I don't believe that it's it would be necessary to send drones down like we saw in Star Wars and stuff. Sending out drones to different planets to look for stuff. Then that's probably where we're at. Or there's a bigger ship out somewhere nearby, like a light year away or two light. Who knows? I mean, in distance in space is so unbelievable that it wouldn't be hard to believe that they're just firing off some drones to take a look at us. That's an idea.
Well, that's true. I'm not sure why they need lights. If they're drones, I'm not sure why they have to be lighted at night while they're flying around with lights on over Phoenix. That's the biggest one, I guess, where they have the Phoenix light show of
Yeah,
unidentified
that's
objects
right.
flying over there. So I would agree with you. As I've voiced before, the chances of intelligent life reaching us are extremely remote. I mean,
Right.
they're almost. You can't deny the laws of physics. Can't deny the laws of mathematics. And for us, it took millions of years of absolutely perfect conditions, not just normal conditions, but absolutely perfect conditions to
Right.
create life. And the fact that the dinosaurs haven't come back after being extinct millions of years ago proves that once life goes, man, it's gone. The dodo bird's gone, the passenger pigeon's gone. There's 2,500 species, I think, that go extinct every year. But
And over 20,000 new ones discovered.
yeah, so
So,
yeah,
well,
but
the interesting thing about your comment about lights, the observation I'd make there is that our understanding of sources of force, because we understand gravity, are very limited. We understand thrust to be fuel, based on fuel, and so light could generate thrust too. So the these having lights
mhm.
on maybe actually what we're seeing, is them using light as a means of thrust, to move that ship about. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would think.
Well, that's how they would do it at night when there's no light.
Oh, and
So
during the day they're going to use the same propulsion during the day and night.
well, I just remember back to the old movie Final Countdown, where the Nimitz went back to 1941 to
That was good.
do the
Yeah,
Japanese, but the aircraft flew above the Japanese, so they wouldn't see them. They were up above them.
that's
And
right.
I think if we were smart enough, these people flying around in planes picking these things up on radar, I would think the intelligent beings would be above them, not below them, where they'd be on radar.
And fully
But
aware
I don't
that
know.
and fully aware that's happening. I mean, there's no way that if it's uh, if it's a craft of another species and it's here, it would have the capability, but because now we've learned also from IT and computers and so forth, of analysis. But I wonder what an IA computer would say about this.
Well, I'll punch it in and find out.
Do that because, well,
Well,
I'll just
actually, I did in our description. Our description of this program today was created by AI.
that's there you go.
It's on
There you
YouTube,
go.
so
Excellent.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's undoubtedly going to occur because of this and AI, as we're talking,
Hmm.
and the issue of G forces and so forth, is pilotless planes, which in the commercial industry save between 35 and to $50 billion a year, and
Hmm.
provide more seats. And
Yep.
we've discussed on a couple other podcasts, they're already doing it. And
Hmm.
airplanes basically fly by themselves. And this software problem that Boeing had with this newest plane that
Yeah,
they
the
put up,
737s. Yeah.
yeah, it's all AI basically. It's all
Hmm.
computer.
Oh yeah, they
You
land
know,
themselves, they
yeah,
take off
that's
themselves,
right.
and yeah. So
Yeah,
and they avoid mountains and whatever you can't see at night.
that's right.
They know where they are. They
Mhm.
give you the warnings and everything. But yeah, I think this Congress thing is a waste of time. Okay, suppose they identify an absolutely true flying saucer. We know it's piloted by someone. It's here. What do we do? So
Well,
what? So what if it's here? What do you do?
it's well, if they're not interested in having any contact, there's nothing you can do,
Well,
right?
that's
I
what I
mean,
mean. Why it's stupid to even have these hearings and even talk about it.
well, which tells me they're malevolent, which is a good thing. They're not benevolent. They're not like human beings. We're very benevolent, and and they see that they would have, if that were the case, they would have seen our history because we've
Mhm.
put so much uh, video in the airwaves for them to be able to
Mhm.
decipher and look at, and so they would have a clear understanding of our human history. So I'm glad they're malevolent. To me, that tells me they are.
Well, I don't know because I don't think they're. I don't deny that they're seeing stuff in space and from airplanes and whatever. I mean, do they not have cell phones? Are they not taking movies of these things? All I see is these radar blips that they're unexplainable blips. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Well, that's
Uh,
why I said at the beginning, Thomas, why the United States Space Force? Why?
well, the Space Force is to explore other planets, to go to Mars and things
Well,
like that.
yeah,
That's
well, we're
it
already
wasn't for
doing
it
that,
wasn't for UFOs.
but
He
we already
just
have
made it.
that.
He just said there's an air force on Earth. We're going out into space, so we need a space force.
I appreciate that. He's not going to come out and say we know there's aliens and we need to defend ourselves.
Well, yeah,
Where there's corporations doing a better job than NASA, we know that. We've talked about
yeah. Well, that's what I say.
SpaceX is,
Yeah,
SpaceX is,
mm-hmm.
off the grid. I mean, it's
Yeah,
beyond the grid. It's so remarkable what's
hmm
happened with it in less than 12 years. So
yeah,
it's one of these situations where the U.S. doesn't really need to delve into it as much as they had,
hmm
and they're finding out that all cost doesn't necessarily mean good cost. So the great thing about corporate air flight around the world is it's meaningful and it's less expensive, and that's a good thing.
yeah. Well, let
That's
them absorb the cost rather than the
that's right.
taxpayers. So
Mhm.
and I think that's what that's what Trump is saying. Work with the private sector and go to Mars or wherever else you want to go. Mars is the obvious target. I think everybody keeps talking about.
That's right.
So
And there's a couple of moons out there around the gas planets that they're looking at that may have
yeah,
possibilities too. But
yeah,
time will only tell, and nothing's
hmm
going to be resolved until man has the capability of some sort of, as we
hmm
know, light speed or the speed of light in
yeah,
space. And until they find a way to create
hmm
that kind of thrust, so they
hmm
can go for like 6 months and come back, because it's not healthy to be up there that longer than
yeah.
6 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, even creating any kind of artificial gravity or air supply or food or whatever in a
It's not
zero
good.
gravity, yeah, it's not good for you. So
I
we've
know
already know that, and
that's right.
that's another reason that I think it's extremely remote that with the vastness of space, I'm not going to deny there's probably life all over the place in space, but intelligent life, pretty remote. because as I said, it doesn't take a whole lot of perfect conditions to grow a tomato plant, but it sure as
Yeah.
hell takes a pretty damn consistent millions of years to create an intelligent person.
Well, I
So,
know, but tomatoes make for good Hollywood movies, you know.
well, yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, one of my favorite
Right.
movies. Yeah,
It's it
you
was
gotta have that.
classic.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Better than the Killer Donuts that we
Oh,
followed it
jeez.
up. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
much better. So. Well, I still think it's a waste of time for the government to even consider this. I mean, we supposedly, spacecraft landed in Roswell, New Mexico, way back when, and every movie except the original War of the Worlds,
Classic.
the aliens have came down to kill us or
Yeah,
take over the planet or whatever.
benevolent, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So there's no reason to think that just because they're intelligent, that they're kind and you know great people or great
Well,
things or
and
whatever.
this leads me to make another observation, and that is that we're not the only water planet in the universe, with minerals and so forth, like
Sure. Yeah.
we are because of the sweet
Mhm.
spot in our solar system. So another reason they may not want to contact us is that there's plenty of water out there. I mean,
Mhm.
the asteroid belt is all water, and you got the meteor belt in our own solar system. It's all covered with minerals, and so I mean,
Mhm.
if they're gonna if they want to mine something, they got all they would want in those two circumstances in our solar
Mhm.
system. They don't need to come here.
Yeah. Well, we got these telescopes that are looking all the way back to the Big Bang, and I haven't seen any of them say, "Oh, look, a mothership coming, over there by Jupiter, just sitting there." It's kind of spinning slowly. Uh, I haven't seen that yet.
Well,
Yet,
I
yet,
think
yet we
w-
find these tiny planets and the billions of light years away, supposedly, with these telescopes we've got out there with no atmosphere to get in the way of the view. So, I would think sometime or other a telescope might have caught a UFO somewhere along the line just flying by.
well, I hate to use the word, but humankind's sort of a bigot. They can't tolerate other points of view, including perhaps other forms of life. The geopolitical and religious and other things that would come apart at the seams if all of a sudden you stood up and said, "Well, we can tell you we're not alone, and yeah, they're here, and they don't
Mhm.
want to talk to us, but." It looks like we have to sort of. How do you look at it? I mean,
Mhm.
what do you
Yeah.
say to all the people of the world? There's 8 billion, and better part of
Mhm.
6 billion are convinced of some religious beliefs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that alone, and
Mhm.
then you have all these
Mhm.
different now, of the 8 billion, all these different economies based on different principles,
Mhm.
and so all of that changes like overnight,
Yeah.
literally. So
Well, there's a lot of people who believe that we were brought here. Civilization was brought here by some beings. That's because we can't explain how the pyramids were built. We can't explain how things were, constructed on land that looked like geometric shapes from the sky. Why were they made that way? We can't understand any of those things. So the only possible explanation is that somebody somewhere from somewhere just came by and said, "Oh, this looks like a nice place with primitive people here. We'll enslave them and we'll build these things to us, and then we'll get the hell out of here."
well, yeah, there's all kinds of different views with that, and we know the complexity of evolution versus creationism, and
Yeah.
what it's in and that's only occurred in the last 100 years. I mean,
Hmm.
all these sciences that created evolution really took a galactic move forward, literally, in the last 60 years, and
Hmm.
years of my lifetime. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much we just literally in the last 40 or 50 years learned about our planet, and so we have to
Mhm.
catch up a lot yet before we can really you know,
Yeah.
to choose to go out and try and transition from here to another planet. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty.
Well, I was gonna
That's
say it's the distances, the physics involved. I'm not saying it can't be done, and Einstein says you can't go faster than the speed of light, but what do I know? He's a smarter guy than I am, but
well,
uh,
science
yeah.
fiction has always been predicated on going
Oh yeah,
past the speed of light, and that's
yeah,
why they
that's
call it
true. Yeah,
That's why they
yeah,
call it light speed. You
yeah,
look that
mhm,
you don't get to the speed of light. You start at the speed of light and go.
yeah, something
That's
like that.
basically
So
that's
yeah,
the concept.
yeah, 180,000 miles a second. If I have my,
Yeah.
I got a,
Uh,
I got a D in history, or I got a D in physics, so I'm pretty sure I'm up on this.
well, it seems to me an oval ship would work the best because it would create the least amount of friction, right? So,
With what? With space?
yeah.
There's there's no friction in space.
No, I'm talking in the way it could move through space quickly,
Well, there's nothing to
and
stop it. It could be square and it would go the same speed as if it
I
were
realize that.
cylindrical.
But then if you're going into if it were well, I don't want to get into geometry and all of that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great topic to talk about because it's
Hmm.
not a woke topic, it's not a political topic, it's not a religious topic, it's a
Hmm.
scientific topic.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this is
government's making it a political
yeah,
topic.
but it's, if you're watching football game with the guys or families or having a party on
If you were
January.
the president, would you want to? The first thing I'd do if I was president, I would sit down with the Joint Chiefs and I've said, "Hey, I want to see the Roswell ship and I want to see the dead astronauts."
Oh,
Or
they
the
all have. They
oh,
all have. Yeah,
oh,
sure.
come on.
No, no,
You've got to be kidding me.
they famous trip, Jackie Gleason and Richard Nixon going to check it out in a Cadillac. I mean, that's one of the great stories in the last 50 years.
Oh, come on. No, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, President
Mhm,
Nixon picked up Jackie Gleason. They headed
mhm.
out to I don't remember specifically,
What,
but I
Area
mean,
51?
yeah, they headed out to a typical scientific government military
Yeah.
site and to explore if it was real. But there's no
And
question.
and Jackie Gleason gets to see extraterrestrial beings.
No one knows for sure what they found or discovered or saw. I'm just telling you, it's a great story. They showed up at the gate, and the military guys, this is off limits.
Was
Well,
Milton Berle busy or
well,
something?
no, he said, Nixon, I'm the president. Let me in. Yeah,
Well,
but what about him? What about him? He said, that's Jackie Gleason.
yeah,
Let him
right.
go.
Yeah. I suppose he could smoke while he was in there, probably. No
Oh,
problem there.
absolutely. Sure. Why not?
Why not, huh? He's just I don't that's that should go viral because that's one of the dumbest things I think you've ever said.
It's true though. It
Yeah,
actually happened.
it's not true.
Okay.
I mean, you're gonna have to send me the link on that one.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, do that. Jackie Gleason and Nixon. Yeah. Uh, no, I'm sorry. Nope, can't buy it. Can't go there. Eisenhower, maybe. Eisenhower with soupy sales
There you
might
go.
might have gotten it done, but no. But yeah, I would if I'm the president. I want to say, hey, if that thing of Roswell is real, I want to see it. I'm the commander in chief. I'm ordering you unlock the bunker. Let's take a look at this thing. Now it's either real or it isn't. So, and then I'd let the people know I saw the thing. It's real. So there you are. So, it's 70 years old, but it's real. So, I don't know. So stupid. I mean, we're on the verge of war with China and Russia. We got inflation eating every dollar we have. We've got the new Green Deal. Everything costs more than it should, and we're worried about invaders from outer space.
Yeah, well, it's you can look it up. The Joe Rogan and Meisner, they've talked about Nixon and getting drunk with Jackie Gleason and going to the Homestead Air Force Base. There you go.
Okay. Well, well,
He did it because he wanted to show Jackie Gleason something cool.
yeah. So, so what? He show them outer space spaceship or dead aliens or what?
I have no idea, and nobody knows about
So
it.
the news media didn't follow Nixon around, right?
Lots
Where
of
were
president, lots of
Where
presidents got
where were
out of the White
Bernstein and
House.
Woodward during all this? What, the New York Post wasn't on their heels?
Of course not.
Where the hell's Nixon go with Gleason? I don't know, man. It's, this is deteriorated into
into madness.
yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that's what it is. But before we go, we got to talk about June 6th, D-Day, 1944. This is the anniversary of it, 79 years ago. And we attacked the French Normandy and other bases around the world. Largest mass production of men ever, and a big death day for America as well. So,
Well, it's pretty remarkable. The thing, I'm not going to say a lot of, but there's everybody can look up the information. But to me, the most remarkable piece of this puzzle of Normandy, it was a 50-mile wide front beach that they landed on.
yeah.
I've been there several times. Remarkable, and I've never forgotten. That the beaches were divided in four: Utah, Omaha for the U.S., Gold and Sword for the British and the Polish, and Juneau for the Canadians. And the Canadians got ashore first and took Juneau and moved inland first. The Americans got stalled down, so did the British on Gold Beach, but Sword Beach was successful. And yes, there was losses, but nothing what they thought would be. They landed over 50,000 men initially,
Yeah.
but it took several weeks to get the beachhead established. And the Germans are the ones that made a lot of mistakes. It's one of these things in history you look at and you go, wow, you got to read about it, because it's just there's several events in World War II, the Battle of the Coral Sea, the Battle of Midway in the Pacific, the Battle of the Bulge in Europe at the end of the war. I mean, there's major battles that you just look at it and it's just, wow, it could have gone the other way.
Oh yeah. Well, it certainly could. Yeah. The weather was an issue. They were going to do it one day, and the weather was bad. They had to postpone it a couple of times. The very fact they could keep that big a operation secret was, although we didn't have cell phones and 24/7 news like we do today. But
yeah, my father had several planes. He had a Cessna and he had a prop jet and a little commercial or private jet. But he had this great pilot. He was Indian. He was from Montana. And he flew in Vietnam off carriers, and he would we would drink, and he'd tell us about landing and taking off. But the most important thing he told me, I think is relevant briefly, is he said if the United States was determined to win the war, all they had to do is send in the Air Force, the Navy, and blow up all the dikes from Hanoi all the way down to the demilitarized zone. It would have flooded the north, and it would have been bare wasteland with no food, no way to grow rice. If they just done that, there wouldn't have been any. There didn't have to go kill anyone. Just blow because from Hanoi all the way down to the demilitarized zone is literally just these ongoing series of rice paddies. And he said, take those all out, do it in a week. They're done. But anyway, there you go.
Okay.
Our love goes out to all those people from D-Day and family that they know happen to participate, and it's a great day of remembrance because it basically saved the world. In a lot of ways, it saved the world.
That it did. All right. Hey, we'd like to remind you to subscribe, ring the notification bell. You'll always be notified of another podcast, no matter what time zone you're in, where you live in the world. And like us, leave a comment. Let us know what you think and what your thoughts are on the aliens coming to coming to a town near you
That's right.
anytime soon. So
Their favorite song, "I'll Be Home for Christmas."
right, yeah. So they probably will be. So.
Mhm.
All right, just a quick reminder, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Subscribe, ring the notification bell, like us, let us know that you are out there. And comments, Linda says, take me to your leader. Thanks for a great show. All right, Linda. Yeah, they'll, if they do land, I'm guessing they'll go to Tom and Shane.
Uh,
I'm pretty
they
sure
we
that's where
yeah,
they'll.
we gotta have the interview
I was
first.
going to say, yeah, they'll, yeah, we're the only ones that have the ability to translate a Martian or wherever the hell they come from.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
that's
we'll
right.
be able to, take care of that. Also, too, I want to remind you that, well, guess what? We're on radio. We're on radio every Saturday from 8 to 11 Mountain Time. Listen live anywhere in the world, kmmsam.com. Just click listen now. No sign up, nothing to join, no email needed, no personal information of any kind. You can call us, you can text us, you can be a part of the big broadcast every Saturday morning. So
That's right. My
keep that
final
in mind.
comment is I really appreciate you letting us talk about this with you because, Tom and I, our day job, Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's where we are. Absolutely right. And if you missed any of our past shows, they're also at kmmsam.com. So if you want to hear this one again or another one or any other one we do, click Tom and Shane's podcast at kmmsam.com. And
Hitch a
boy,
ride, baby. Hitch a ride with us. Let's
that's
go.
it. That's it. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being here with us. We really appreciate all of you guys out there. Thanks so much for being here. And we will see you on Thursday and talk to you on the radio on Saturday.